Yeah. Probably a crock for butter or something of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you tell the outside.
Right. Yeah. And there's the other fragment. Yeah, there's a box, the bottom portion of it. And there's glassware, all sorts of things down here like that. Actually, when Toby came down here with Michelle Russell back when she was researching her book, she found a large iron step off of a carriage here at the riverbank.
Lying right in that area. Right
Yeah. So, this is all the evidence, like I said, though, of the early occupation
this down here
and
that they're holding right there in hand. Now I showed that to Dr. Talbot at the Historical Society, and he told me right where it was made, up at Cookville or wherever. I mean, he just quickly, he just
the
identified.
slip and everything. It can be identified by the slip on the outside. That's what they call the covering or the outer coating. That's how they would have washed it, basically, to give it its color and to seal the ceramic. So you can often tell by the color where it came from. Right.
If you come back here in the wintertime, after the water go down and recede, it'll start receding quite soon. But then in the more heart of the wintertime, you get a real good view, and where you don't have the mosquitoes and all those things, and you can get a little bit more freedom to get out on the beach area. In the area right down here below here, water back. There was a thing I found during the wintertime. What it was, a little chunk of iron with a couple little ring things on it, and I took it, and what it was the thing that fits on the harness for a horse that pulls a buggy, and it had a couple little reins where the reins would go through there, and it's a heavy little thing like this, and it had a little hook thing right there. And I asked somebody, what's this little hook thing for? And they said for the horse, when you had a horse hooked your butt, you want the horse to hold his head high. So actually what this does, it ran from his bit up to this, and it hooked right here, and his head would go like this as it was going down the road, so he wouldn't be slumping over like this. But and I found it right on a little washout area, just right over. And it weighs a pound and a half or something.
Y'all need to explain to them that this is East Fork.
West Fork comes in here.
Right.
This comes from the south side of Rutherford County. Closest to us upstream here, Nice's Mill. Downstream of it's roughly a mile or more, where the river goes, takes a little bend to the right and back to the left. And that other bank over there on that bluff was old Jefferson Springs. We called it Sulphur Springs back in those days. And on the other side of the river, for the most part, going east way, there was a store there. It had a bowling alley in it, the dance halls to the right, and it had a roadway that went along the opposite side, and they built various kinds of tents and cabins, and people would come here for the summer, and then have swimming holes and could swim it. There was also a place out in the water where you could dip the sulfur water, where you could drink sulfur water, and they built the iron bridge across there. There was a ford there for a long time, and then finally they got the bridge completed. It took a long time to build it. Finished in about 1914. So during the early part of the 1900s, up to World War II, and even when I was in high school, we used to come to dances there all the time. They had a big park there. On this side of the river, there was a hotel, what they call the hotel, and there were it was a quite prominent place, and people from the Air Force Base would come there, and we would have chickens and eggs and stuff for sale. We would bring it over to the
wharf.
And it was kind of a lively place.
That used to stand there.
But if y'all ever hear anybody
picture of the remains.
Used to stand and observe.
Yeah, it's down here on the riverbank, just a few feet from where we're standing.
And actually, there's an island right there. When the water goes down, right out there forms an island, and then the water just turns and it comes down right there.
Hold that for me real quick, please.
Alright, so you need a portable podium.
I need my assistant out here, and he's not here.
I always blame these things on the people.
He's working the powwow this morning. Of the farm, but it's all desolate, as you can see. We visited it last year with Toby and saw the remains of the old sinkhole there in front of the house, directly straight down in front of where the house used to stand. And essentially, this is the lot today. You can see that there's not much there to look at.
That looks very clear.
Right.
It's not
It's
clear
not.
up there now. You can hardly walk through it.
Yeah, it's all so grown over. Right. Well, the Keebles were a very, very prominent family in early Rutherford County. They were large landowners, planters, a large plantation out here, and did very well for themselves. Several generations, of course, grew up here on the property, and another plantation would be built out near Walter Hill eventually by part of the Keeble family as well. Yeah. So, a lot of people are unaware of the fact that Tennessee's very first African-American senator, Sampson W. Keeble, was born here in 1833. Yeah. And he would leave here after the Civil War. He served in the Civil War for the Confederacy with his master as a cook and as a sort of a all-around gopher for the men in the unit. After the war, he got out and moved to Nashville and immediately opened a barbershop once he was emancipated. Yeah.
Toby gave me a copy of some letters that Mrs. Keeble wrote to
Yes,
Mr.
Fanny
Keeble.
Keeble wrote a series of 60 letters. I've got a copy of it too. It's called Mistress of Stony Lonesome, where she's writing Walter.
I'm feeling
The
all around.
he had left to go do his duty for the Confederacy. While he was gone, she wrote him a series of letters about life on the plantation, talking about how difficult it was. There are no known photographs of Sampson that survive today, just this bronze statue that was put into the state capitol to commemorate him. So that's what this is. But he was born here, like I said. For a short time before the war, H.P. Keeble and his brother owned a newspaper in Murfreesborough, and Sampson was trained as a pressman at the newspaper. And H.P. Keeble, the son of Walter, is buried at Evergreen Cemetery in Murfreesborough, and that's his headstone. Yeah. There was another slave by the name of Mariah Keeble, who in 1932 was 103 years old. And this is a newspaper article from Chattanooga where she had moved to live with her daughter, where she passed away finally in 1932. But she also was born a slave here on the Keeble plantation.
Is he going back?
I'm not exactly sure. Right at about 1,000. Yeah, close to it. Yeah.
I'm gonna walk back with it. I'm gonna walk back with this lady here.
Okay.
She's going back, so I'm gonna walk with her to
Okay.
keep her safe. Okay.
Okay,
So
Toby.
you're going on down to
Yeah,
the.
we'll go on down to the fort and come back. And anyway, like I said, this is the trees over there mark the location of where the house once stood. And we trekked over there last year during the winter and actually visited the house site. And there's actually old farm equipment that still litters the property out there even today. Yeah.
It was down by that sinkhole.
There's a little tractor park and things. Probably though from the very early 20th century. I mean old stuff. Yeah. Yes, yeah, you're his brother, aren't you? I thought so.
What do you exactly do with this 20th century?
What?
Is that amazing? Like a
Okay.
focus.
That's what it'll probably come out. But,
We would truly like to be able to do what we could do to get this under the control of the National Park Service. Because if we could, we just feel like, they're much more aligned to historic preservation and interpretation, and it would probably take more of an effort, to make this a very easily. Okay, this is essentially the end of the trail segment proper here on Old Jefferson. From this point, it would have turned to the northwest, straight through this direction, and forded the river just through the tree line there. We'll walk around here And I'm going to take you to a spot just beyond this that will show you where the bridge once stood and where they crossed, and you can see across the river to the other side. The Corps mounded up earth, of course, to block the roadway there back in the 60s, but this was where the road actually turned and crossed the West Fork right here. So, yeah. And this is where the final Trail of Tears interpretive sign will be located once it's installed. Right, is at this point. Yeah. So. We don't know a whole lot about this particular lot or yard. It appears to be a yard of some sort. These pine trees are not native, of course, to this part of Middle Tennessee. These were intentionally planted here at some point in the past. We don't know who did that, though. But they obviously have been here a great while, and they're not native to the site.
What's that?
The pine trees.
Oh, Corps of Engineers did that.
You think?
I do. We didn't have pine trees through here.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, they're not native to the area. We're going to walk through here.
Gotta catch up here. Thank you.
I'm not going to take this too far. It looks like the poison ivy is kind of taking over. But essentially, if you look across the river there, that was the ford. You can see a chair where somebody's been fishing over there. And you can see a rock wall here that still exists. This rock wall has been dated probably to the early to mid 1800s as well. So it's one of the few existing landmarks that still survive out here.
I never knew that wall was here until Johnny came on that hike with you the last time, and
Right.
he came back telling me about that.
Right.
I never knew it was here.
Right. Right.
They came in behind.
We know that a family by the name of Comer lived very close to the bridge here. But I'm not so sure that this was actually their property. No.
I think they rented it.
Right.
I think it was it Ward?
Could have been the Ward
I
farm.
think it's the Ward.
Yeah.
Well, now I think the
Yeah,
Ward
that's been
house
said
is where we
too.
looked at that thermos. That was the Ward house.
Well, the Ward house was up where the courthouse
Yeah.
stood.
Right, right.
But
But
the maps
the family,
the maps I've
Did they
looked
come
on had
down here?
Ward,
Okay.
Ward
Right.
written in here.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
They made
but anyway, this is a
the main house was down
this is a